Giraffes are the staple of the African savanna. While they are certainly unique in their astonishing height and iconic patterns, they're not alone. Africa is home to two species of giraffes, and the other one couldn't seem more different. With its wonderful striped coat, it may superficially resemble the zebra, but everything about it, from its black tongue to those skin-covered horns on its forehead, as well as numerous other features, gives away its true identity. In the dense rainforests of the Congo in Central Africa, the okapi lives a quiet and peaceful life. But what the okapi lacks, and its giant relative has, is that immense neck. The giraffe is the tallest animal in the world, but even that isn't always enough to keep attackers at bay. In times of scarcity, prides of lions will prey on giraffes out of desperation. Some things you may not know about giraffes: they're great kickers, and use their long legs to smack and trample aggressors. And even with their long necks, they're the opposite of cumbersome, and sprint at speeds of up to 60 kilometers an hour. To establish dominance between rival males, giraffes will spar by slamming their necks together and ram each other with their massive heads. While most giraffes live social lives, okapis prefer to live a more solitary existence, only seen living together in mother-offspring pairs. Aside from the occasional snort, it was long believed that giraffes were entirely mute. That was, until a study published in September 2015 announced that after recording giraffes in zoos for 8 years, and after sifting through 938 hours of audio, they do in fact vocalize, but only at night. Exactly what they're communicating, and why they only do it after the sun sets, remains a mystery. But the giraffe, in all of its splendid wonder, did not appear suddenly on the African savanna only to go about its duty of trimming the tops of acacia trees. Zoology is only part of the story. Paleontology gives us the depth. As is often the case with many groups of animals, the fossil record for giraffes has shown there to be a rich history, a delightful array of fascinating beasts. Giraffes belong to an infraorder of mammals called pecarins, creatures which spent most of their evolutionary history as small, omnivorous forest dwellers. Some 23 million years ago, though, they underwent an adaptive radiation, an evolutionary boom where they split into various pathways. Out of this came our friends the deer, Cervidae, the Bovidae, made up of cows and their relatives, and the Moschidae, or so-called musk deer, tiny, fanged creatures from Asia. Here we also find the group that contains the pronghorn and their extinct brethren, like this stunning creature Ilingoceros from North America. This is also where we finally find the giraffes, as well as entirely extinct groups of their relatives, like the weird and wonderful Palaeomerycids, deer-sized animals which thrived on 5 different continents, where they wielded elaborate structures which jutted vertically from their skulls. Take this fossil for example, a North American Palaeomerycid called Cranioceros. You may be tempted to call these tall structures antlers, but in fact they much more closely resemble ossicones, which are only seen one other place in the natural world, the skull roofs of giraffes and male okapis. But whether or not these spikes were covered in skin in life remains a mystery. A study published in December 2015 announced the discovery of a brand new species of Palaeomerycid from Spain, named Xenokeryx, which had its very own set of odd cranial protrusions. These skeletal decorations were probably used to identify members of different species, as it seems that each type had a completely unique pattern. Perhaps they were used as weapons, wielded by rival males in tests of strength. Whatever the case may be, it's safe to assume that they weren't used to defend against predators. In that case, speed was likely their best bet at survival. Another breathtaking assemblage of giraffe-like animals were the glorious Climacoceratids. While the only significant difference between male and female giraffes is body size, some Climacoceratids took sexual dimorphism to the extreme. Take the absurd yet assuredly impressive ornamentation of Prolibytherium. Paleontologists have discovered that only the males of this strange animal carried this immense butterfly-shaped ornament, while the females wore a lighter gown of long spikes. In all their facial majesty, the Palaeomerycids and Climacoceratids began to vanish as wide-open savannas began to take hold, replacing the subtropical woodlands. This is when the giraffes began to diversify the most. But what about their neck? Long necks aren't entirely new in the animal kingdom. Some prime examples of long necks in the fossil record include the aquatic reptilian plesiosaurs or the colossal Jurassic sauropod dinosaur Diplodocus. We humans have 7 neck vertebrae, and Diplodocus has at least 15. So what about the giraffe? Well, it also has the standard number shared by most mammals, 7. But its vertebrae are hyper-elongated, stretched wildly. In a study published in October 2015, paleontologists examined 71 fossil neck vertebrae from 11 different prehistoric giraffids. According to their research, it seems that the characteristic long neck started early in giraffe history. But while we like to think that a long neck is a pivotal part of being a giraffe, there were just as many short-necked forms. Xenokeryx was one of the earliest giraffes to revert to a short neck. Later came animals like the Bramatherium of India and the imposing Sivatherium of Africa, as well as today's okapi. The long-necked, lanky giraffes that we know and love emerged between 7 and 8 million years ago. Once the front portion of the neck vertebrae began to lengthen, intermediate forms between short-necked and long-necked giraffes such as Sivatherium and Palaeomerycid evolved. But it wasn't until the last 2 million years that the back end of the vertebral column lengthened as well. Bohilinia was perhaps the first giraffe to pioneer the body plan that would become what the giraffe is today. There's still a lot to learn about the giraffes and their ancient relatives. A lot of what we do know is based off of fragmentary remains. New specimens will aid in our understanding, and hopefully future discoveries will allow us to peer deeper into the story of these magnificent animals. And with the help of conservationists, their spectacular anatomy will keep the world in awe for years to come.